मान्याः प्रमुखातिथयाः श्रीमन्तः हरिकिरण वड्लमणि महाभागाः प्रार्थ्यन्ते उद्बोधनाय। उपस्थितान् छात्रान् सभाजनान् छात्र स्व उद्बोधनेन।
श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सप्रेम नमस्कारम गोविंद देवगिरी महाराज, श्री वरखेड़ी, Madhusudan Penna, all the dignitaries on and off the dais. When I got the call inviting me to address this, I was frankly taken aback. I had never been invited as a chief guest for any function in the last several years, I don't remember. Leave alone for the convocation ceremony. It's indeed a privilege and honor to be here to address all of you. And I'm grateful to Varkedi ji for giving me this honor. My relationship with him started in 2015 when we had a brainstorming session for a university that was going to come up, has come up, Chinmay Vishwa Vidyapeeth. We all sat for a whole day debating about how do we, because that was the first university after the liberalization, and what kind of curriculum to take up. And since then, through Indic Academy, I had the opportunity to interact with him. He has come and he always been very, very positive and cooperative. Thank you very much, sir, for all the help that you give us at Indic Academy. Madhusudan Penna ji and I go back 10 years when we set up Advaita Academy, and we sent a colleague to Nagpur to set up the camera and set up, it was in those days, 10 years back. And I remember his first talk was on Siddhanta Bindu, I think. So our relationship since then has been over the years through propagation of Vedanta. So I'm very grateful to you, Penna Garu, for giving me this honor. I want to leave a thought with you at the beginning of my talk. And I was coming yesterday and I was thinking about what are the aspects that I should talk about. One thing that struck me is that Sanskrit scholars, Shastra scholars, are they naturally prone to transdisciplinary thinking? And how does that happen? That was one aspect that I was thinking. The other thing was that there is this concept called meta thinking. Meta thinking is thinking about thinking. You observe how you think, and then you change this, how you think. So there is research to say that meta thinking promotes transdisciplinary thinking. The reason I was thinking about it is that we have to think about how do we advance. It is not simply enough to preserve, but how do we advance? Then it struck me that perhaps because we have the anchor of Vedanta, of Atman, the Sakshi Bhava, which observes the thoughts, and we are the only culture that has that, we are naturally prone to be meta thinkers. So if you are a Vedantin and if you are practicing and living Vedanta, you have a natural proclivity to be a meta thinker. This, when added to the fact that we have Sanskrit as a perfect language, which has spawned in turn multiple languages, one interesting observation is that the maximum number of polyglots, speakers of multiple languages, are originally Sanskritis. So there's a hypothesis that can be made that Sanskritis have a natural proclivity to be polyglots. But being a polyglot is not enough by itself. What we require is the next stage of becoming a polymath. That means you are capable of multiple skills. So, Sanskrit, grammar, Shastras will enable you to become polyglot. Being a polyglot will have to now become a polymath. This, when coupled with the meta thinking that we have, can make you a transdisciplinary thinker. This is the hypothesis that I want to present to you. I have my good friend Sai here. Sai, please rise and be recognized. He is the founder dean of MIT SVS, and I have the founder of MIT SVS, Dr. Karad, Swati Karad, also here. Madam, please rise and be recognized. Please give a big hand to Swati ji. She has pioneered MIT SVS, School of Vedic Science, and she's worked with Sai ji, and they have created another institution of incredible repute for our culture. This is a project I would leave to Sai ji, and we'll talk about that. But before that, I want to structure my talk into 4 sections. What the strategy we at Indica Academy follow, some highlights of what we have achieved, what our plans are, and what I want from all of you as students. The problem when we started 7 years back was having 9 zeros. We had 9 zeros as a goal. Billion. 1 followed by 9 zeros. So we wanted to transform 500 million Indians and make them reconnect back with their heritage. And reach out to 500 million non-Indians who are consuming our culture, recognize what they are consuming is from our culture, as well as offer them authentic, immersive, and transformative services. So this was the goal that we set out, to transform. The population of the planet is 7 billion, so we wanted to transform 1 billion. So this was the goal. Because being a Vishwaguru is in our destiny. So, first and foremost, we must understand that our culture is integrated. So when we are setting out to do something, we have to recognize the fact that we are an integrated culture. What I mean by integrated is that we have the intellectual thought, we have the cultural manifestation, and we have the spiritual expression. You see, it's intellectual, cultural, and spiritual. All these 3 elements are there in every aspect of our thought. Therefore, in an integrated culture, if we want to do something, we also have to have integrated approach. So we thought that we can't just be preservation, but we have to preserve, we have to protect, and we have to promote. All these 3 elements are there for intellectual, cultural, and spiritual. Then we realize that the individual journey is what we need to focus on. So we came up with this concept of self, selfless, and self. That is, The individual has to discover his swadharma, he discover his swabhava, and then express that. That's the first self. Then he has to offer it as a service in a selfless way. Then eventually has to discover his true self with a capital S. So this was the journey of the individual. Then we realized that ultimately if we want to revive something to people who want to consume our culture, we have to think about it as what is it of value to them today. How can you revive a culture if the consumer doesn't see value? Then it will be in the museum, right? So if it has to be of value to a consumer today, then we have to ensure that everything has to be thought of as a product, service, or an experience. Everything. Product, service, or experience. But the qualitative factors, the qualifying factors are they should be authentic, they should be immersive, it should be transformative. These are the qualities of everything. Whatever knowledge that you have gained, you have to think about it in these qualities: authentic, immersive, and transformative. So these are the guiding factors that we had. Then we realized that there's an urgent need to build an ecosystem. So if you are trying to build the ecosystem comprises of animate and inanimate, living beings and non-living beings. We wanted to be the non-living being. We wanted to be the pipeline. We wanted to be the infrastructure. So we don't want to have any view on any subject. We want to be a channel, a road that any person with any view can travel. So that is the guiding philosophy that we have developed. And we also said that we need to contribute. So multiple causes. We had a simple goal. Very simple in its, but very difficult to implement. No deserving cause. No deserving cause should go unaided if they come and knock on the door. Simple. But it's very difficult to implement. But we have been successful so far. Some contribution we give so that any person who wants to do any dharmic act, if they knock on the doors, they will get some benefit. So this is how we built the ecosystem. So we defined ourselves as an inter-university center, inter-Gurukula university center. So we have relationship with Chinmaya University, we have relationship with MIT, we have relationship with Kaviguru University, we have university, Rishigud University, we have relationship with multiple universities. So if you are a hub, then you interact with multiple people. That is how the ecosystem built. So this is how we have developed our strategy. In terms of what we have achieved in the last 7 years, I will tone down, but we believe that we have made a mark. We have supported more than 350 scholars and authors. We have done more than 150 book launches. We have done more than 15 conferences of unique topics which have never been explored before. We have brought up this concept of revering our gurus, and we have created this concept of grateful to gurus, wherein all the gurus, we have kept this thing that all gurus, living gurus in India should be venerated on Guru Purnima Day. So every year we make an announcement, we get the applications, just like how the Padma Shri applications, we get the applications and we venerate. Scholarships. The different kinds of grants that we have looked at, different kinds of events that we have looked at, different kinds of festivals that we have looked at. So the way we think about it is that we have thought centers where the thinkers can work towards. Then we have platforms. Then we have leaderships. Swamiji was telling me, and it was just a beautiful thing, and he talked about cultural leadership. Then I immediately told him, Swamiji, I am also a believer of cultural leadership. And we are now working on a cultural leader for every political constituency, every district in India. Every district in India should have a cultural leader who is a generalist, who thinks about the entire culture of that, and he tries to preserve it. So the way we think about the individual is he should be a leader, he should be a thinker, or he should be an entrepreneur. So we have several platforms. We have a platform for online courses. We have a platform for commentary. We have a platform for Vedanta. We have a platform for yoga. We have a platform for movies. We have a platform for polytheism to reach out to the global diverse religions. So we have platforms where we nurture them to be entrepreneurs to offer that product, service, or experience. So this is what we are trying to do. What our strategy going forward is that we want to focus on bringing back the Gurukulams. We want to bring back that Guru Shishya Parampara. That is what we want to do. The intimacy of a Guru teaching a Shishya in the proximity of the house or in the proximity of a retreat is something that we need to bring about. So we do not want to be a university. We want to establish multiple Gurukulams. And we want to go about it in a smart way. So we have launched a scheme called Gruha Gurukulam, wherein a scholar, today we are living in an urban environment, there's not enough space. Earlier there was space. So we are telling the scholar, please take a house next to you, close by to you. We will have the students stay in that house. You can go whenever you want. So it is still a Gurukulam, but urbanized for the contemporary situation. So we are doing the first one with Dr. Korar Subramaniam in Hyderabad. So we want that kind of a distributed arrangement where any scholar can just take something on rent and get the scholars. So we bring back the Guru Shishya Parampara. In Hyderabad itself, we have acquired 70 acres of land where we are wanting to establish a Maha Gurukulam. Again, this is not one single thing, but it is a multiple Gurukulams, multidiscipline Gurukulams. So you will have for various disciplines, you will have Ayurveda, you will have yoga, you will have Shastras, you will have Vedanta, you will have Veda Pathshala, you will have for the Kalas. So you will have multiple Gurukulams with multiple gurus, but all in one campus. In that campus, we want to construct our campus, Indic Academy campus, which would be focused only on research. So here, there will be postdocs. So you are all invited once the campus is there. The postdocs and the PhD students can come. And they are interacting with the gurus. They are interacting with the Gurukulam. So we are building the bridge between Shastras and Indology and Indic knowledge systems. We want to build the bridge between Western civilization, Eastern civilization. Build a bridge between disciplines. So this is how we are thinking about in terms of being a inter-Gurukula university center with Gurukulams. And also we want to give 1 acre land for all the dharmic institutions to build facilities there. So it would be a Vedic village which would have all the dharmic institutions. I invite Maharaj Ji to establish something in Jetchela. Swami, please bless us. That would be wonderful. So multiple institutions can have their campus, the Gurukulams are there, and our research facilities are there. This is the need of the hour is not that there is one Sanskrit track, there is one Western track, there two tracks are not meeting. The time has come for us to bridge both of them. That is what is the need of the hour. And that's what we are trying to do. Bridge both the tracks. Lastly, our strategy is to bring back immersion. We need to think about our culture not intellectually. There's too much of anger, too much of frustration. Intellectual things is not the way. The only way in which we can transform is to bring it back, that remember that this is about Purushartha, this is about Moksha, this is about Bhakti. So therefore we want to bring about, so for example, yoga, world over so many retreats happen. It's all asanas. So we are trying to create an app wherein every retreat will have an option to bring a Vedanta teacher, to bring kirtans, to bring chanting, to bring Ayurveda. So there's a retreat that's already happening, and then you have all these things. So we can get scale. Similarly, we have adopted a policy of establishing centers for Indic knowledge systems. So we are now talking to various institutions. Again, you all know about Airbnb. Infrastructure is there. You want to rent out your infrastructure to guests. We want to be that model wherein the Airbnb app for Indic knowledge systems. Think about it. Wherein all teachers are there. I'm talking to one university in Cambodia. I told them, don't worry, no need for visa and all that. We will send 2 people, 1 semester, they will teach, come back. So just imagine that world over, whichever university wants to establish a center for Indic knowledge systems program, they already have the infrastructure, they already have the students. All they require is scholars and topics, right? And then imagine that kind of an app. So this is how we are trying to get the scale, both in terms of yoga retreats or Indic knowledge systems. We become a hub wherein all the scholars are empaneled, and this scholar is free from May to August. And some university wants to do a semester in that period, this scholar can go. So you have to think about how we can rapidly integrate Indic knowledge systems into the mainstream. I am telling all of you that you are not in a separate track anymore. In the next 10 years, there will be an explosion of work. There will be an explosion of work. So you should be very, you are at the cusp of exponential growth. Our own thinking is that we think of everything we think of in terms of Vedanta. So the knowledge base that we have, think of it in Panchakosha theory. The external theory is craft, yoga, Ayurveda, right? This is all the external, the body, gross body. The second body is the emotions, the art. The third body is the Indic knowledge systems in English. The fourth body is the language. The fourth circle is the language. And the fifth is the Shastras. Just imagine. So if you frame your knowledge base in these kind of 5 circles, then you can know how to present it to the global audiences. Now to all the students, I was talking about becoming a polyglot to polymath to a transdisciplinary thinking. Think about it in 4 buckets. One is the preservation. So whatever knowledge you have gained, there is immense opportunities that will come. You can teach, that is fine. But that is not enough. If you want integration, we need to start bridging. bridging the current knowledge with Shastras. This is the need of the hour. This is what we are trying to do. This is what my friend Sai is going to do, and he's working to collaborate with you. Bridging of Shastras and Indic knowledge system is the need of the hour. You have to know and make both the knowledge systems talk to each other. So preservation, bridging. The third aspect is you have to study the West. You cannot be in an island. You cannot be in a silo. If you want to make global impact for all the effort that you have done, for all the knowledge that you have gained, you have to study the West. Only then you can advance our knowledge. This is very important. And lastly, you have to think of becoming transdisciplinary thinkers. Because that is what the world wants. That is what the world wants. The complexity that is there requires transdisciplinary thinking. And today, the base with which you have started, with Sanskritam, with Shastras, with the knowledge of the grammar, you have, and with the knowledge of Vedanta, you are rightly positioned to become transdisciplinary thinkers. So I'm very happy with this honor to talk to you, all of you. And I would like to announce to Varkedi ji that we would like to support 10 scholars who can take up any of these 3 activities, which is studying the West, bridging, or working towards becoming transdisciplinary, doing research in that. We are very happy to announce an annual grant for the next 3 years for supporting 10 scholars. We can work out the methodologies, and we would look forward to working closely with you. We are already working with our Center for Indic Studies and Law and Justice, wherein Srinivas and Madhusudan Pennaji are working of bridging the Evidence Act between Shastras and the Evidence Act. That kind of a bridge they are building. Already our center is working. So we want to extend this, and we look forward to a deeper engagement, sir, between Indic Academy and you and the institution. And thank you once again for giving me an opportunity to address the students, and thank you very much.